Are you ready? The Cornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Cornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Cornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cornelia Stephanie Show. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you today. We have our stories of hope, and I'm excited to introduce you to our first guest. Naomi Kresge is a certified life coach, founder of Keep Finding You Life Coaching. She's a wife and a mother of 4. She's passionate about helping women transform their lives. After facing one of life's toughest challenges, divorce, and rebuilding her life from the ground up, she's learned how to move from survival mode to truly thriving. It was an aha moment that changed everything for her. And now she has a career that she loves, a fulfilling marriage, and a life of purpose and happiness. Her mission is to help other women find their own aha moment, empowering those who feel stuck, frustrated, and unfulfilled to take charge of their lives. Through her coaching, she has helped them gain clarity on who they are, what they want, and how to achieve it. Welcome to the show today, Naomi Kresge.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
So that must have been a wake-up call, right? When you found yourself at a difficult moment in your life when your marriage was over. And maybe you can take us back to that time and tell us, how you were feeling and what happened.
Yeah, it was, divorce is never easy. For me, my divorce was a complete surprise. I had the rug completely pulled out from under me. It was not that our marriage fell apart, but that my ex-husband fell apart. And I was completely crushed. And at the time, I was a stay-at-home mom. I had 3 small kids, and I had to just completely turn my life was completely turned around, and I had to just figure it out, all on my own. So it was a disaster, and I was a disaster for too long.
Wow. So you had you were a stay-at-home mom, you had no career path, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden, your husband, the marriage fell apart. And so, what did you do during that time to?
I was doing anything that I could, like anything that I could to survive. I was definitely not thriving. And when I started to come up for air, I was not happy, and I was doing anything that I could to be happy. I was reading the self-help books, I was listening to podcasts, I was taking courses, but it wasn't really connecting, and I wasn't able to really feel that happiness that I was so desperately seeking. And it wasn't until I had an amazing aha moment that made me realize that I was stuck in survival mode, and I was completely emotionally unavailable. And it was no wonder, because how unemotionally unavailable I was, that's all that I was attracting into my life. And so the aha moment of the power of the law of attraction, that's what I was putting out into the world, so that is all I was going to get back, was it completely turned my life around.
So you found the law of attraction through all the process as well. And how did that show up? And then what was the practice?
So it actually came in a book. I was reading a book, and it was a section about love, because that's what I desperately wanted, was to get remarried and find love again. And in the book, the author was going through a similar situation, of not being able to find the right men. And her mother was saying to her, like, you go out, you party, you're late, you're not acting like you want to be in a committed relationship. So you're not attracting the commitment level men into your life. And that was like a light bulb for me. I was like, how can I have Prince Charming if I'm not acting like I'm ready for Prince Charming? So it was a simple that what you put out, you're going to get back. And I have since applied that to every single aspect of my life. And now I have never been happier in my life.
So do you feel that this relationship, divorce situation that took place, was a gift?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. You know, I can respect the journey now. I mean, it has led me to the man that I love. It's led me to this career that I absolutely love. And I would not trade it for the world.
Wow, isn't that amazing? I mean, something so, challenging when when the rug is pulled out from underneath you, and then you look back after having gone through all of it, and to see that that was a necessary part for your growth. And
Yes.
you could have kept on repeating the same patterns, but you
Yeah.
decided to empower yourself,
Yep.
and you
Yeah,
decided,
the path of empowerment is not easy.
no.
Like my aha moment, it sounds like it just clicked and it snaps, but it takes a lot of work. Mindset is a constant battle. So, but I loved it, and I love continuing working on it.
So who are the women that you're helping today so that if any of those women are going through challenging situation like you did, so that they can hear who are they? Who is that woman?
So that woman is someone who knows that they want more out of life, or knows that something is missing, and they're like on the verge of figuring out what it is, and they need someone to help them take that deep dive to really figure out what it is that they want, and how to get it, and how to like continue to grow and grow to where they want to be.
Right. Good. You were mentioning earlier before we came live that you just recently you published a new newsletter, something that you want to tell the audience about. Maybe you want to give us that information.
Sure. I just started my newsletter. It's called the Midweek Find. So it's released every Wednesday. And so it's a little something to help you get through over the hump in the week, or maybe even the hump in your life. So it's something to help you find your own aha moments, because I find that life is much better with those aha moments.
So how do people subscribe?
So if you go to my website, keepfindingyou.com, there's the pop-up that comes right up will lead you to the subscription page.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. Now, the women that you've been working with over the years, you got into your career of life coaching because you want to help and transform others' lives, right? Help other women
Mhm.
going through the same situation. What kind of results have the women experienced that you've been supporting?
A lot of women, it comes down to their own self-esteem and their own confidence, because you can accomplish anything as long as you have the right mindset and confidence behind it. So just the confidence to be who you are, or or work towards who you want to be, is the biggest battle. And I've seen that with my clients, and they really enjoy the transformation towards a better self.
So how do your clients find you?
Again, with my website at Keep Finding You, reach out on the contact page, and we can do a discovery session to see how we can work together, and we go from there.
So do you also have social media? Are you active on social media as well, or?
Yes, yes. Keep finding you, but with the letter U instead of YOU.
Okay, and that is where?
Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Yay. Okay. All right.
Yes,
So you said that you have children, and
yes.
because you were, so how are your children today, and how old are they?
I have a 16-year-old daughter, a 19-year-old son, a 21-year-old son, and a 22-year-old stepson.
Wow.
So
Wow.
they're grown, but they're really great. They also have seen the positive side to the divorce, and my oldest son actually wrote about it in his college essay.
Wow. Yeah. Because that must have was that was I know that when that happened in my life long ago, when my mother and father divorced, what an impact that had on me. And so that must have been a huge impact on your children as well.
Yeah, they it brings me to tears sometimes to think about my son's essay. He wrote that it made him a better man,
Hmm.
the divorce. It was really great.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that it had the kind of impact that it did.
Yeah. Um, it's really interesting, how resilient the kids are. And when we align on our right path and our true path, and we begin loving ourselves, because you said you weren't emotionally available,
Nope.
uh, for yourself, and that you weren't really happy. And how the children can feel that, and how the work that you do on yourself is the most important work that we can do.
Yeah, and it touches everyone and everything.
Yeah. Is that why you became a life coach, also to continue on growing in that area?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's tell the audience again how to, what's the name of your website again, and about your newsletter, and one more time on how to find you on social media.
Okay. You can find me at keepfindingyou.com, and also with social media at keepfindingyou, but with the letter U. And my newsletter comes out every Wednesday called the Midweek Find, something to get you over the hump in your week or the hump in your life.
Wonderful. Yes. Well, I want to ask you, is there one final message that you have for the audience today that are listening? What would you like to say to them?
Um, Something that I talked about in my most recent newsletter is be vulnerable and ask for what you need.
That's beautiful. Yes. Ask for what
Thank
you
you.
need. That's a big piece, because I
Yep, it
find that
is.
a lot of women have difficulty with asking for what they need.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Naomi, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. I wish you many blessings and good luck with everything that you're doing. And thank you for doing all that good work, helping many, many women step into their rightful path.
Thank you very much for having me.
We're going to take a break on the Cornelia Stephanie Show. We'll be right back, everyone. Hey everyone, come check out this new app I'm featured in. You're going to look for KS Media Group app in the App Store, download it, launch and create your free account, get the free ebook. You're going to find me under directories. Click on resources of the world's best influencers. Find me at the top of the list and take advantage of evolving your daily practice, cultivating deep inner peace, growing in love with my YouTube channel, and all the ways that you can connect with me now on social media and other ways as well. There's also a long list of live podcasts there that are listed under the directories to help you to live your best life now. Go and hurry, get the KS Media app, go to the App Store and download it now.
You've been listening. But are you watching? Tune in to your favorite shows on the Transformation Talk Radio Facebook page. We stream live video podcasts every day, and we love to hear from you. Leave comments and questions for the host to address live, on the air, and get to know the faces behind the voices you love. Just go to Facebook and search for Transformation Talk Radio.
Yeah, yippee skippy to that, baby.
Join the new earth on the Cornelia Stephanie Show. Tune in each month as Cornelia takes listeners on an odyssey of higher consciousness to inspire, educate, and empower. Cornelia Stephanie is a spiritual teacher, passionate speaker, published author, and founder of the Empower Network. Cornelia guides people on the path of self-healing, peace, and liberation. For more information, go to corneliastephanie.com.
Do you want to become a host? Start your own podcast to inspire, persuade, and influence others on what you're passionate about? At the Transformation Network, we can help make your talk radio dreams happen. Let's take your hopes, dreams, and passions and put them on air today. Email us at host@transformationtalkradio.com to learn more about becoming a host of your very own show.
Welcome back to the Cornelia Stephanie Show, everybody. It's Friday and we've got our stories of hope. Our next guest is Rachel Freed. She was sexually abused by her father during her teenage years, and she is now healing and thriving through publishing her book and speaking to professional or parent groups. Her audience finds her educational and engaging with a factual and emotional delivery of her story of survival, including getting state law changed to benefit victims. She also writes children's books featuring her emotional support dog, who represents her online. Rachel Freed, welcome to the show today.
Thank you for having me, Cornelia.
So we're not capturing you on video today because we want to protect your identity. But we do have an image that we're going to be displaying instead, an image of your book that we'll be showing to the audience here a little bit later. I want to thank you for coming on the show today and being sexually abused by your father. That you want to just take us straight into that, how you found that out, or it was in your teenage years and then you just found the courage later to talk about this?
Yes, ma'am. My father abused me from the time I was 12 until I was 18, and I had the courage just to leave home. I realized that that was the only way that I was going to survive what was being put upon me in a very extreme way. He got me pregnant when I was 16, and he took me to have a induced miscarriage so that that secret would be hidden even from those very close to me. My mother figured it out. She asked me what was going on, and eventually was able to assist me getting out of the house and out of the abuse and the neglect. So more power to my mother. She did everything she could and then some. And so at 18, I went out on my own with 2 cents in my $2.10 in my pocket, and my little dog at the time in my Volkswagen with my bicycle, and sent out on my way, and took life as an adventure. And I didn't know what I was getting into at the time, Cornelia, but it was better than where I was.
I just can't even imagine. I mean, I know I personally myself have experienced sexual abuse when I was a child.
Oh my.
So I mean, this is when you're a child, when you're like younger, like a lot younger than you, but from 12 to, you said from 12 to 17?
Till I was 18 years old. Yes, and it was only because of the threats that my father put upon me at that time that kept the secret. And he instilled in me that if anybody found out, it would kill my grandmother. So the keeping me in line, so to speak, happened when I was 12, and I was threatened in such a way that it would kill someone else, that I didn't know what else to do. And so as I grew into my teenage years, I started to understand some things about what really was being transpired. I knew what was going on was wrong, but I just couldn't endanger my grandmother that way. And he actually said it would kill your grandmother. So
Yeah, I mean that it's like, so much fear. I mean, like you're responsible for this and you would be responsible for your grandmother's life. And then
yes,
on
ma'am.
top of it, take all the abuse, the sexual abuse. So, I mean, what would he do? Come into your room at night or
Yes, ma'am. He would make it very difficult for someone to find out based on the time and way those events occurred. But generally, when my mother was away from work and I had come home from school, and the timing was such that he just picked it, and he was very aware of what he was doing. And so he managed the time and events in that order. It was quite frequent. And I was a hyper um, productive individual. So I was a straight A student. There was nothing indicative in my behavior that would tell someone that something was wrong, because I really over exceeded in my high school years. I was a cheerleader. I ran track. I did gymnastics. And so I did everything I could to stay out of the house as much as possible. And so he just figured out the right time and would take that opportunity to do the damage that he did to me.
oh my God, I'm so sorry. This is just, I just, I mean, and then what happened to you? I mean, the fact that you were still exceeding in everything that you were doing is absolutely extraordinary.
Thank you.
Oh my
Thank you
God.
very much.
Yeah. I mean, that is extraordinary because we would think that the behaviors then that you would develop would be destructive behaviors of some sort, but for some reason you channeled that energy into productivity and exceeding.
Yes, ma'am. The damaging behavior to myself occurred after I left home, when I
Okay.
didn't have individuals around me who were supporting me, achieving my goals and things like that. And I will have to say, Cornelia, if it hadn't been for God taking care of me, I don't believe I would be here right now. He's always been there for me. I always had opportunities to go with my mom to church on Sunday and did those things. But my faith carried me through some of the most horrific events in my life, and I do have to attribute that to God and His will to save me and to allow me to get to a point where I'm able to be productive and thriving. As I've started talking about it, I'm not just a survivor, but I'm a thriver, and I've worked through some serious complications. That the situation after I left home was such that I wasn't aware of how people would continue to take advantage of me, and so I got myself into some very tough situations, but I survived those. I finally recognized that I needed real help, and I got some mental health help for my mental and emotional instabilities, and I got some help from the Department of Disabilities here in Tennessee, and they paid for my education to finish my undergraduate degree at University in Tennessee, and evaluated the situation at the time, and still struggling. They paid for my master's degree, so I was able to achieve a master's degree in accounting and computer science at the University of Tennessee, which really assisted me carrying on with a professional career that has been quite successful. And of course, my lawmaking was quite by accident, but I thank God for putting me in that situation. I was sadly came up on some criminal charges that a defense attorney that was my mom's divorce attorney. It was very convoluted, and that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book. Of my life has been quite extraordinary, how it's turned out, and how I am successful now about certain things that I am doing. But my mom's criminal defense attorney took on my case, and he helped me get by the criminal charges, so I didn't serve time in jail. But I did at the time um, uh, have to address the issue that I have of alcoholism. I've been sober 32 years now, which is amazing to me. I know the day that I decided that it was time to stop, I prayed to God for him to take that from me, and he did. I haven't had the urge, and I've been successful in my sobriety. But my father was killed on a motorcycle in a motorcycle accident, and I became friends with an attorney who wanted to help me get restitution from my father's estate. And so we filed in court. And at the same time, I found out that that was the way that you make a law. And so she assisted me in filing the paperwork in the court system against his estate for assistance and to get opportunities to be able to pay my medical bills and things like that, because I was in psychotherapy, obviously. And when that was unsuccessful, she just turned around and looked at me and said, "Well, do you want to go to the legislature and see if we can get a bill turned into a law?" One of the things that I discovered, Cornelia, was that in the state of Tennessee, the statute of limitations for filing against a perpetrator this way was a year after you turn 18. And so you don't even know where you are, much less if you have the capability and the stability to go to file charges like that. And so I was horrified, but ended up going to the state of Tennessee, the legislature, to get the law changed. And first attempt was not successful, but I went back by myself and lobbied for the bill and talked to state Senate committees and was able to actually just was able to talk the legislatures and the senators here in our state to understand how important it is that someone who's been through something like I have, and there are more than a handful. I think the stat is 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 4 boys by the time they're 18 years old. And so I was able to get a 14-year statute extension.
Wow.
And so you can file against your perpetrator if circumstances are such that you discover that what you happened to you is or was child sexual abuse. And within a 3-year discovery rule in that law, you have up to 14 years to file against your perpetrator. And so the law's been extended, and there's a couple things I've still got left to do, Cornelia. So I'm really excited about continuing to help others who've been what I've been through survive and heal. And although I didn't receive restitution from my father's estate, there will be opportunities for others to come behind and actually get the help monetarily and with other statewide assistance to get their lives back together a lot faster than I did. And so my general goal at this point, Cornelia, is just to help others heal. I've met many people along the way, and it just seems like when I start talking about this, they open up and they talk back to me about theirs, and it's overwhelming. It's sad that I'm saying that, but at the same time, if it takes me opening up and not remaining silent about what has happened to get others to be able to open up and recover and heal by putting their baggage aside and taking the steps to heal with mental health and getting their education and finding a good job, then I'm doing the work that God sent me here to do. So.
Well, I say that you are absolutely extraordinary with what you've achieved. I mean, congratulations to you. The fact that you didn't die, the fact that you didn't self-destruct, the fact that you were able to do the things that you did and just be resilient like you are. It's absolutely extraordinary. It's heroic. It's heroic. You are a hero. And of course, you already have given all the glory to God for
Wow.
supporting you. And that's awesome. I want to let the audience know how they can get a hold of your book and also find you on social media.
Certainly. My website, heisforeverwithme.com. There's a link at the top for my book. And I'm also on Facebook as Rachel Freed, RACHELLFREED. And you can also find me on Instagram and Twitter, but I'm author Rachel Freed on both of those locations. And so I will have to say I've got a site that I'm working on. I've got Chester books that are coming up. It's a story of the emotional support dog who has allowed me in the last 7 years to actually take to the next step and be involved with kids who are going through things like this. You know, you made the comment about as a young child, you really don't know that something like this is wrong. And so it makes a child feel very different. And so my first book, Chester's Challenges, actually introduces a neglected, abused miniature Yorkie. He didn't have a lower jaw, so he was challenged to begin with. I don't know if that was a result of his abuse and neglect or if it was just something he was born with, but he taught me the next level of recovery. And it's what you talked about, Cornelia. It's about the resilience. It's about you're here, you're making the best of it. And that little dog has made me so happy to see what I kind of translate to who I was and what I've gone through in my recovery. And so I wanted to give that insight to young kids about it doesn't matter where you've been, what you're doing, or if you're dealing with a disease or, you know, you're feeling isolated because of an abuse or et cetera. You feel very different about things. And so my Chester book, the first one is about letting kids know that it's okay to be different. You can still be somebody special. And that's what I really want to try to do, Cornelia, is just inspire others to really hang on, you know, go forward. Just stand
You're
firm
doing
where
it.
you are.
Yeah.
Put your face forward and you know,
yeah.
let the Lord take you there.
Yeah. You're absolutely doing it. I want to thank you for coming on the show today, Rachel. I admire you and I honor you. Thank you for speaking up, for speaking out, and doing the work that you're doing. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Cornelia. I'm honored and humbled. Thank you so much for having me.
Hold on. We're going to go to break, and we're going to take a break on the Cornelia Stephanie Show. We'll be right back, everyone. Hang on, Rachel.
Thank you.
Hey, everyone. Come check out this new app I'm featured in. You're going to look for KS Media Group app in the App Store. Download it, launch and create your free account, get the free ebook. You're going to find me under directories. Click on resources of the world's best influencers. Find me at the top of the list and take advantage of evolving your daily practice, cultivating deep inner peace, growing in love with my YouTube channel, and all the ways that you can connect with me now on social media and other ways as well. There's also a long list of live podcasts there that are listed under the directories to help you to live your best life now. Go and hurry, get the KS Media app, go to the App Store and download it now.
You've been listening, but are you watching? Tune in to your favorite shows on the Transformation Talk Radio Facebook page. We stream live video podcasts every day, and we love to hear from you. Leave comments and questions for the host to address live, on the air, and get to know the faces behind the voices you love. Just go to Facebook and search for Transformation Talk Radio.
Yeah, yippee skippy to that, baby.
Join the new earth on the Cornelia Stephanie Show. Tune in each month as Cornelia takes listeners on an odyssey of higher consciousness to inspire, educate, and empower. Cornelia Stephanie is a spiritual teacher, passionate speaker, published author, and founder of the Empower Network. Cornelia guides people on the path of self-healing, peace, and liberation. For more information, go to corneliastephanie.com.
Do you want to become a host? Start your own podcast to inspire, persuade, and influence others on what you're passionate about? At the Transformation Network, we can help make your talk radio dreams happen. Let's take your hopes, dreams, and passions and put them on air today. Email us at host@transformationtalkradio.com to learn more about becoming a host of your very own show.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for listening and tuning into the Cornelia Stephanie Show. Our next guest is Courtney Talkington. She's passionate. She's an advocate for mindful eating and a registered dietitian with a unique perspective on nutrition. Having overcome personal struggles with an eating disorder in high school, she dedicated her college education to understanding the complexities of food and nutrition. And through her own journey, Courtney developed a profound belief in the power of food to nourish both the body and the soul. She emphasizes a holistic approach to eating, focusing on joy, satisfaction, and connection. Courtney's approach encourages individuals to break free from restrictive diets and embrace a more balanced and fulfilling relationship with food, equipped to provide evidence-based information and guidance. Welcome to the show today, Courtney.
Thank you for having me.
So I think it's great that you are highlighting emotional eating and, the power of our emotions, and also how we relate, the relationship that we have to food. Because when we are triggered emotionally in our life, in stressors that are going on in our life, we emotionally eat. Is that what happened to you?
I feel like part of my journey, yes. My journey started when I was a child. And at that point in my life, I don't ever really remember questioning. I was overweight, and I don't ever remember questioning that I was any less or not good enough. But I knew I looked different than other kids. But it never really hit me until I was in junior high or high school when kids were saying that I was too loud, I was too bold, I needed to shrink in many ways in my life, weight, my personality, everything. And so when I turned 16, I ultimately started starving myself. And because of society's expectations of me and what people were telling me that I needed to look a certain way, and it kind of just pulled myself away from who I really was.
Yeah. So wow, that's a really interesting. So this was going all the way back to childhood when
Yes.
when this whole patterning began. And then of course again, society, the way that we're conditioned, and sometimes kids are cruel, right? They're cruel. And so you were already being what was being reflected to you was to dumb down, numb down, shrink small, be silent, hide away, don't be yourself, and all these things. And so you began starving yourself. I mean, so have you since overcome this disease?
Yes, through many events in my life, I actually was a teen mom. Actually, with my husband, now we have four beautiful children. So 10 years ago, I became a teen mom, and I honestly believe everything that has happened in my life has happened for a reason, because I wouldn't have gotten the degree that I have if it wasn't for that year break that I took, because I had everything planned out. I was a huge planner, had everything mapped out for me, my whole life planned out. And my husband and I found out we were pregnant with our son. I took that year break, and that year break gave me the clarity that I really didn't want to go with that first degree that I had a full ride scholarship for.
Right. I mean, that's huge. So you had that gift given to you, and then you started going in a different direction.
Yes. So I said yes to myself, is what I call it. Is I actually studied abroad as a mother of two and a wife and a virtual student online. I decided that I was going to study abroad in Italy and took a food and wine course. And it ultimately opened up my eyes. I live in a very rural area, and so I wasn't exposed to a lot of culture outside of my little tight-knit community, which I love my community, but it was just a whole new eye-opening experience for me, because in Europe, they see food so much differently than we do here in the US. They use it as a way to connect with the people they love. They savor the time that they're spending with people, and they give themselves the time to slow down and pause and think, man, this wine and this cheese tastes so good. it's not so much about the nutritional value, it's about how it's making your body feel. And I feel like here in the US, we've kind of taken the emotion out of food and only focus on the nutritional value, which kind of pulls us away from ourselves. Emotions are something, or food is literally the center of every celebration or event happening in our lifespan. It's at birthday parties, it's at Christmas time, it's at, I want to go visit my friend and catch up. What do? You go eat. Food is the center of that. And that is where emotion is very much tied to food.
Yes. I mean, this is a really good way to look at it, to look at that, to really experience, aside from the nutritional piece, but also to receive the pleasure about how good something tastes, because that is one of our senses, is how good something tastes. I mean, and so now you started focusing on that.
Yes. And that is where I have kind of separated myself from, I have to look a certain way. I have to be a certain way. I don't need to be small. I can be bold and I can share my story to hopefully bring somebody else that joy, because honestly, a lot of us, we have good and bad emotions tied to food. But I know that when I eat my grandma's apple pie recipe, I know that I think of her. Like, it brings memories back, it brings joy, and it brings connection to the people that are loved ones that we spend time with.
So basically, what I'm hearing you say is that you give people permission through working with you, through your program, and through your education and what you're talking about, to develop a new relationship again with food that they didn't have before. So it's basically flipping the program of what they've been taught, flipping it and shifting that so that they can enjoy food again.
Yes, so much. And even as a busy mom of four, I know that we need to hustle, and there is a time to hustle, but there's also a time to slow down. Even if you can give yourself 5 minutes or 10 minutes on a walk at night, kind of just reflect on how your day went, how your meal times went, how you feel. I'm not saying that going and eating a whole pizza, it might bring you joy in the moment, but ultimately your body's probably not going to be thanking you later. And that's where you kind of just need to take a step back and listen to your body. And I feel like with how much hustle culture we have, we literally don't have time to do that. We don't take time to sit down and be present with the people we love and think about food from a different standpoint than just what the nutritional value is. Yes, that has a time and a place. There is a place for it, but we also need to remember that what food is bringing us and the memories that it brings us is also equally as important.
Beautiful. I just love your confidence in all of that. I think it's so great that you're educating the younger generation and even the older generation to relook at their relationship with food. And I like that it came, from Europe, that, that is how you were introduced to that. And now you're helping others. Tell us about your program and also give us your social media handles where people can look you up and follow you. Are you active on social media?
I am active on Instagram. That is actually where my program is ran off, is on Instagram. It's in my bio, but it's called Savor This Season, A Joyful Approach to Food. And this launches just for this holiday season, but I will be opening another one at the beginning of the year. But this one focuses on helping women navigate confidently through the holiday season, because sometimes our friends and family don't understand where we're coming from. And so this gives you a supportive group of women that helps you lift you up and be that support system through the holidays. Because I did a poll on my Instagram the other day, and I think it was 75% of my followers said that the thing that scares them the most when it comes to food at the holidays is family or friend triggers. So just having that extra support system and knowing you're not alone, as well as hopefully being able to find a way to set an intention for yourself of something you can let go and move on so that you can release that and hopefully move in the right direction.
Yeah. What is the social media handle?
It's my name, Courtney.Talkington on Instagram.
Awesome. And let's see, what else? I asked you two things. Oh, your program. So it's an 8-week program. And when does that begin?
It begins November 1st and ends December 27th. We will have biweekly calls on either Zoom or the Microsoft Meet program. And we'll also have a exclusive Instagram group or Instagram chat so that we can have extra support that you can just shoot us a message and kind of boost you up if you're having a bad time or need some advice.
I think it's great. I think it's great. Let's bring that appreciation back to our relationship with food and connection and start experiencing that in a different way. And I'm going to be following you myself. So thank you so much for coming on the show today, Courtney. I really appreciate it.
Yes, I very much appreciate you and I love what you do.
Thank you so much. We're going to take a break on the Cornelia Stephanie Show. We'll be right back, everyone.
Hey everyone, come check out this new app I'm featured in. You're going to look for KS Media Group app in the App Store, download it, launch and create your free account, get the free ebook. You're going to find me under directories. Click on resources of the world's best influencers. Find me at the top of the list and take advantage of evolving your daily practice, cultivating deep inner peace, growing in love with my YouTube channel, and all the ways that you can connect with me now on social media and other ways as well. There's also a long list of live podcasts there that are listed under the directories to help you to live your best life now. Go and hurry, get the KS Media app, go to the App Store and download it now.
You've been listening, but are you watching? Tune in to your favorite shows on the Transformation Talk Radio Facebook page. We stream live video podcasts every day, and we love to hear from you. Leave comments and questions for the host to address live, on the air, and get to know the faces behind the voices you love. Just go to Facebook and search for Transformation Talk Radio.
Yeah, yippee skippy to that, baby.
Join the new earth on the Cornelia Stephanie Show. Tune in each month as Cornelia takes listeners on an odyssey of higher consciousness to inspire, educate, and empower. Cornelia Stephanie is a spiritual teacher, passionate speaker, published author, and founder of the Empower Network. Cornelia guides people on the path of self-healing.
Do you want to become a host?
Welcome back, everyone. Our next guest is Risa Morella. She's a licensed marriage and family therapist in California, and she's the owner of Embrace Renewal Therapy and Wellness and the collective and host of The Real Family Eats. She's dedicated to being a parent ally and helping parents create thriving families by prioritizing their relationships. Her passion is fueled by her experience as a parent whose child stopped eating at the age of 3 months old, and it rocked her identity and her relationship with her spouse. As a 1.5 generation Filipino American, Risa experienced growing up in a chaotic and emotionally immature environment that did not lend to preparation, support, or a model of how to navigate this transition. Welcome to the show today, Risa.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Wow. So, okay. So now you are a parent advocate. A lot of it, everything has to do with thriving in family relationships. I am curious as to, because you mentioned in the green room that you discovered your voice and you want to speak out.
Yes, absolutely. So as you mentioned, now kind of on the other side of it, I am a marriage and family therapist, and I primarily work with parents, and that has been fueled based off of my own journey as a parent, and figuring out how to have a voice, and becoming a parent myself was really kind of the catalyst for me. There were parts and pieces that were building up to it, if you will, but kind of that really kind of key moment was when I became a parent, where, as you mentioned, kind of in what you're reading there, my child stopped eating at 3 months of age, and he has no voice at that moment. And so that wasn't necessarily something that I knew how to advocate for. I very much, because of the chaos kind of in the home environment for me, not having a voice was my way of surviving. It was a lot of people pleasing, a lot of keep your head down. We don't talk, especially to folks that are in some position of authority. And so in this moment, here I'm in the room with medical, doctors that in my world, in my identity, they have authority, and they're telling me, you're just a first time parent, you don't know what you're talking about, you're being dramatic, you're overreacting, very much affirmations of things that I had heard a lot growing up. And so again, my instinct very much was to put my head down. Okay, you tell me as an authority, you tell me that this isn't, my instinct is off, it's not there. And kind of really reaffirming this whole idea of I'm the problem. It's somehow I'm failing in some way, shape, or form. And very distinctly remember I at one point had called my mother, desperately trying to reach out again and say, this is what's happening, and I feel like I'm failing, and this is what the doctors are saying. And the response back was more, it's not that hard, Risa. Figure it out. It's a you problem, again, and just really reaffirming that same narrative. And I found myself in that moment, I had to make a choice, a very, very real choice of either I was going to keep in that generational trauma of kind of what's been passed down to me, or I had a choice to, even though I didn't know how, to figure out a way to have a voice for my child, and really at the end of the day for my inner child. And so that's what I did. And so like I said, I didn't know what it looked like, but I knew I wanted it. And so through lots of my own work, lots of my growing on the professional side as well, I learned how to be able to do that. And so that's really fueled my passion in being able to kind of pour back into parents, because oftentimes, and what I learned in my own journey, and now I've seen just on the professional side, it can feel awfully lonely when you're in the struggle that is parenting. And it can be really, we have those bags that sometimes it's really hard to let go of. And it can really reaffirm, especially when you're in that loneliness and then you're isolating because you're seeing everybody else that on the surface looks like they're just amazing and, they're perfect, that it reaffirms this kind of failure narrative. And so my job and what I do a lot with parents is really helping them also find their voice and knowing that they're not alone and that this is really hard.
Wow, it's quite the story. And what I heard you mention quite a few times, I heard you say this word quite a few times, and that is authority. As I'm sure, as a marriage and family therapist, when we've given our authority away to our outside world, whether it's our government, our teachers, our family, our doctors, we've given our authority. They are the authority over us. And then when we're in crisis and then they don't show up for us or they're not there, that's what then is supporting us to look at the authority. Who's the authority here? And discover that part and discover that voice again and use those people as allies to support you with your authority. Is that right?
Absolutely. It is finding, humans, we're fickle beings. And so if we are kind of, like you said, relying on that external, we're likely going to find ourselves in disappointment quite frequently. And so it is really kind of finding you. Nobody's going to stick up for yourself better than you can.
So true. That part is so true. Nobody's going to stick up. Nobody's going to love you more than you love yourself. Nobody's going to be able to meet you more than you meet yourself. Meeting yourself, loving yourself, advocating for yourself, and surrounding yourself with people like you that are a support system that helps people. Tell us about the work that you're doing with family advocacy and working with parents.
Yes. So I primarily provide couples therapy. I do couples workshops as well as parenting workshops, all with this idea that, again, so many times because we can get stuck in that, forgetting our own voice, forgetting our own wellness, we put ourselves, we're really good as parents, I find, putting ourselves on the back burner in service to trying to make sure that this human survives and this human thrives. And so my job instead is to be the parent ally. I'm going to have your back. Since you have your kids back, let me have your back so that we can figure out, like you said, how to find your voice and how to trust that gut that you do have and know that it has value, it has worth. And so I do that, as I mentioned, a lot through the work that I do in the room, whether it's through the workshops or through one-on-one kind of intensive therapies with my parents. And then I also have a podcast that's launched within the last month that I'm interviewing real life parents, and we're pulling back that curtain. We're sharing the real life struggle that happens in the room. At the same time, parents are sharing with me a recipe. So not only do parents get to listen in and hear a story that looks a little bit like theirs, but they get to walk away with a recipe that maybe they can add to their routine, because as parents, we're tired and we're just looking for something to kind of jazz it up that maybe the kids will eat.
That's really good. I like that. What's the name of your podcast?
It's called The Real Family Eats. And so it's on YouTube and then any of your major podcasting platforms as well.
The Real Family Eats. And what are your social media handles?
Yeah, you'll find that all under Embrace Renewal Therapy. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. It's all there. You'll also find the links through that, through those socials to The Real Family Eats as well.
Wow. So how old is your son? Your son was 3 months old when he stopped eating. How old is your son today?
He is now, he's about to turn 11 and he is going to be going into middle school. He is thriving, he is alive, and I'm so very grateful.
And he's eating well, I presume.
He is. He is now a star eater. Me and my spouse, we're small people, so we're not expecting, 7-foot players out of him, but he's doing what he needs to do, and he's found his way, and he's actually taken a lot of pride in his ability to be able to provide nutrition to his own body now.
Yeah. So that's so great. I always love hearing when, when the crisis turns into a success story. That's why we do these stories of hope, to show and to support the audience that's listening, that no matter what it is that you find yourself in, that there is hope, that there is support, that people have turned their crises into victories. And that's what this podcast is all about. Congratulations on starting your podcast. I think that's fabulous. And also leaving people with a recipe so that they can, because like you said, parents are busy. They're busy. They've got a lot of things going on. Risa, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and inspiring our audience today with what you're doing, helping parents find their voice and feeling that they have a support person in their backyard that will support them so that they can find their voice.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you providing this platform to, like you said, inspire hope, because it is possible.
Thank you. Thank you, Risa. Thank you, everybody, for listening and tuning in to the Cornelia Stephanie Show. We're going to see you again next week, Friday, and have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Take good care.
You've been listening to the Cornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Cornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Cornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at corneliastephanie.com.
The views expressed on this program are those of the host, guests, and callers, and do not necessarily reflect the views of the station, its management, or advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.